So hello everyone, I'm Toby from Toby's Urbansketch, and we are drawing this today, and you can see this scene is a 1-point perspective scene. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, I'm going to be talking a lot about perspective as we draw the sketch, and so this is a bit of a hands-on 1-point perspective guide of a drawing. Hope you enjoy, and let's start sketching. So hello everyone, it is Toby again from Toby's Urbansketch. We are going to be sketching this scene up here, a little 1-point perspective scene, disappearing off into some greenery on this side of the page, with a few little windows and details, and let's see what we make of it. I'm going to be starting with a 0.4mm fine liner, and I'm going to start on the left for once, not with the buildings but with these trees. I'm just going to get in some really rough shapes of the trees. You can see there's sort of one's probably an oak, I think, and the others are sort of weeping willow. And we can even just get that idea in with our line work here. We can get that just initial feel of different tree shapes. And then working out from that, we've got our little church. I say little, it's a reasonably big church, but it's small on the photo. And then this little building here, before we're moving really into the foreground, and this is where we need to be thinking about our perspective. So we got one vanishing point, it's over here, and that's what makes it 1-point perspective, because it all disappears off to this side. So we got lines of perspective coming along. If I do with my pen, lines of perspective are sort of that shape. So with that in mind, let's just keep working on our perspective as we come out. So we're keeping this bottom line going approximately along this line of perspective and just getting in these different shapes. So this is the first wall and building, and then we've got this sort of dark doorway, this other little roof, then another sort of dark area into the final building and the door. And these doors even need to be in perspective. So we've got this one here, and then if we follow this line, that's the top of the next doorway, and then you can see the windows are the same as well, so this window fits that line of perspective. Here we've got a sort of break in perspective because it goes in, so this window here is actually going to be in a different place, but this big window again, it's all following this same line of perspective. Got another little window up here, and then we got our roof, and we can start building our roof line from there. So and doing these angles can be quite tricky, and what I'd suggest is just you can measure, and I often talk about how to measure and things, or you can just do it by eye and look, I got it wrong, but it's fine, you just build it up again, build it up, and just as long as you're being nice and loose, a little mistake here and there doesn't really matter. It all sort of disappears and blends as we move on. Got this last building here, and again you can see I went too far here, so this was a bit too long, but it doesn't matter, we're doing a fun sketch, so all I do is I bend this line and it just gives it a more quirky feel, so there's no problems with making a little mistake here, a little mistake there. We can just correct them and just learn to accept them as part of our sketching. So let's get these windows in. Again, these are approximately following this line, but so you'll notice this line of perspective is above here. The reason is this line goes up, and then this is inset, it's deeper, it's behind these windows. So if we followed this line, it would actually go up here, down there, and then up there. So that makes sense, but because these windows aren't all on the same plane, they're not all on a flat surface, they're going to be at slightly different heights on our page. However, if we follow this line, this is where these windows will be, because they're on the same plane. So we can pop these two windows right next to each other, And we can pop this little pipe in and maybe just suggest the edge of this window. What else is left? We've got this door, got this window, and again we're just trying to keep this line approximately in perspective. And we got another door, another window or two, and again we can see we've got these perspective lines all working for us. And then we've got just a couple of sort of walls and things here. We can just suggest those with vertical lines and horizontal lines. Don't need to be clever. We could try and pop these cars in. I just suggest doing them as little shapes. So just, you can see there's a triangle and a rectangle. That's all we need just to get the idea. And then we've got this pavement, which again is following a line of perspective. So lots of lines of perspective going on. You can see them going like this, like this, like this. And that's all that 1 point perspective is. And again, it doesn't really matter if you make a little mistake. You can see my mistake here, you can see mistakes here, but they kind of blend in. By the time you've added colour as well and a bit more line work, all these things blend together, no problems. So let's just find a couple more details we can add. We've got this lamppost. I've moved it to the left of the church to make it easier to pick out. We've got a couple of cables coming across, and we've got another lamppost. And we're going to do the same with, so this lamppost we're going to assume is the same height as the other one, and we can follow a line of perspective. And actually it's this, I've already put it there, and I've already put it in the right place. If you see, got this line of perspective and it magically comes down. I think when I drew that I was assuming it was a downpipe or a gutter or something. What else can we do? Well, let's add a little bit of tone. Let's get some hatching going. So we can find all our shadows, and we can just hatch those in. And that just gets a nice, immediate, extra bit of shape. And where we've got these sort of dark doorways, a bit more hatching, a bit deeper. And here, a bit of depth. And this, we haven't finished this roof off, but now we have. And all these things just immediately build the character of the place. And just getting a little bit more window detail. Again, we've got one side of this roof to just hatch, and we got a side of this church to hatch, and also this church roof. And now suddenly we're starting to bring out pools of light because we got dark next to light. That's what the purpose of tone is in many ways, not just to make things dark, but also to make other things comparatively light. And then let's do the same even in our trees, and we can start separating out areas of wall as well by leaving those light and then making some areas very deep and dark. And there we go, very simple sketch, isn't it? But actually surprisingly effective for very sort of little effort and work. We could add in some of these open windows, just with a tiny bit of extra work, and then at some point we can just decide we've done enough. Perhaps a little bit more detail in this window, and then we can decide, you know, this little sketch is done. So let's see what we can do to enhance this with some colours. Now I'm going to use my big mop brush. I'm going to go nice and loose as ever. We'll start with some water, and we're just going to pick out, do you see how this sky has got this kind of big blue area? So getting a little bit of cobalt blue, we just get these big blue patches sort of bubbling in there with the colour already. In between that we've got cloud, and clouds actually, they've got shadow. They've got white crisp edges, but they've also got a lot of sort of warm shadow. A nice way of mixing that is the blue, but also with a sort of warmish brown. And we can pop that in around our blue sky. And suddenly we've got that feel of clouds sort of bubbling around as well. So just a few more touches here and there. And then we can keep enhancing that. So get some more cobalt, touch that in. Come back with a clean brush and lift out patches. Get more of that light coming. Clean the brush off. We can even drop a bit of water in the blue. So if I just take a dollop of water, we'll get some fun expanding cauliflowers there. And then maybe just a little bit more warmth in some of these clouds. And then let's leave that for now and see how it develops. Well, with the one exception, what I'm going to do is just neaten up the edges, bring it all the way down to our buildings. And then I'm going to bring it down, so over the buildings, to just enhance some of that tone and give it that joined up feel. Now I've got a mix, a sort of a very neutral mix here of, I believe it's ultramarine and burnt sienna. Gives a really nice grey. Just using that to tone down a few places, everywhere we've hatched really. And then we can use a bit more of a deep version of that mix in a couple of places and start changing between how much blue, how much burnt sienna there is, and suddenly get some variations in our shadows. And now this is kind of popping out at us because we've got these, again, these really bright areas which are only bright, they're not got any brighter, but they look brighter because they're being compared now to some deep colours. You can use a bit of gold green here to start bringing out our trees. And that gold green can mix with our dark mix to create the deeper greens. So we don't need to mix the green beyond that. Can, of course, if we want. I'm happy for it to blend up. I'm going to just pull out a little bit of the water just to stop it blending up too much, but I'm happy for it to do a little bit of upward blending. And then we've got a decision. Do we want to bring out some colour in these houses? I think, why not? Whilst we're experimenting, why not? So I've got a transparent pyrrole orange. I'm mixing it in with my sort of neutral mix here. And that's quite a nice brick colour for these sort of modern bricks, if you like. We can just touch that in a few places, just don't need too much. Can add some brighter areas by getting more orange. So really bright here and here. And again, we're just making shapes, but also using enough water that those shapes will naturally soften themselves and do their own thing. And then we can come back again with our dark mix. Oh, if I find the right blue. And perhaps we just want to use a bit of that in our windows just to show that they're different. They've got their own tone, their own shape, their own reflections. And we can use that to layer in a few places as well. Okay, and is there anything else that we need to do? Well, I would say there is. We've got this sketches in the middle of the page, but now the colours are all at the top, so it's looking a bit unequal. So we can easily start to just remedy that by just creating some colours, some shapes in the front. We can have some sort of light using this same transparent pyrrole, and then we can get this shadow which is in the reference as it happens. So we've got this sort of shadow at the front. We can just bring that out, and again probably a little bit too brown for my liking, but that's no problem. Just add a bit more blue on the page, and now we've got far more balance, basically immediately far more balance to our image just by adding a bit of extra colour in the front. Now I'm going to see, are we still still a bit wet in the sky, which means we can still just enhance a couple of patches of colour. So just taking some more of our cobalt and just letting that dance around and do its own thing. And then we can do the inverse here. Maybe lift out and drop in some of our deeper tones. Lift out a bit of colour here. A bit here. And it's all just having a play, and we don't want to go too far. So I'll probably have to stop very soon before having a play turns into a sort of a ruined image. So there we go, let's have a stop with the colours there. We'll let this dry and see what it looks like. And I think we can already see that this line work has sort of gone back a bit with these colours. When the colours dry, it'll probably be a bit less evident, but I think what we'll be doing is lifting the line work forward in a few minutes just to make it punch again. Okay, so we are good to go. It's mostly dry apart from at these edges where all the water's pooled. And I think I'm right. So you can see that things are they're sort of a little bit distant, a little bit in the background. And that's a natural thing when you glaze over some line work. And very easy to just spend a couple of minutes bringing out our key shapes again. So we just go around, and I'm going to do almost a continuous line drawing probably for this, just to bring forward some of these sort of key shapes, capturing some of those areas of colour and areas of light just by reinvigorating the line work. And it's another opportunity to sort of, where we've made a mistake in the past, well, by going over it with a nice bold line, we're hiding that mistake even more. And I think this is basically all that I'm going to want to do, is just these few lines, just to really push things into that background again. Or bring things out, push the background back, pull the lines forward. And we could do the same with our pavement. And there we go. So that's a really fun little sketch, using a handful of colours but focusing mostly on a 1-point perspective sketch. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe as well. Thank you very much for watching.